the global financial crisis is not a problem for the luxury real estate industry?
At the beginning, it was a problem, of course, because the owner of apartment don't want to decrease the price, so they just block the market. They don't lose money, but they just block the market because the offer say, "Oh, it's a crisis, you have to sell it," whereas 15 or 20% less, and the owner. The rich man owner said, no, I don't want to depreciate my apartment, my house, so I don't want to sell. I block the market. It's why we feel in Europe, in south of France and in Monaco a lot. So that means the market just stopped to live during 6 or 7 months. No transaction. The rental market work a lot, but not much transaction to sell because the owner don't want to touch the price. And now we go back to the market. The crisis is really past now in Monaco. I mean, we just have 6 or 7 months, not crisis, but just stopping a little bit the market. Now the offer just start back to accept to pay a little bit more price, and they want to start to sell the price. Now you have some good opportunities until in Monaco because some products are going to pay perhaps 10 or 15% less than the normal price 2 or 3 years ago. But the market is going to increase a lot again because, the market of, like all market, is a demand and the offer. So I mean, you just block a little bit the offer, you have a lot of more demand and the price grew up. It's something very logical in the economy. So it's exactly the same in the luxury real estate market.
Just now you mentioned that your example, so could you give us the specific introduction about
a specific example that it could explain to you and to the people how we could fix and have a market stable in price, for example. You have a very small port between Monaco and Nice. It's called Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat. It's very beautiful, very huge. All is built right now in this port. That means there is no space to build more. And there are 15 or 20 years ago, the Russian, very oligarch, very, very, very rich Russian in petroleum, gas, whatever, just arrived in south of France with a lot of money. And they love this place. Right now, something like 70, perhaps 80% of all the villa, all the house, even the hotel, they have a very luxury hotel there, is bought by the Russian people with very, very high price because there are 15 days, the price was perhaps 25, 30, 35% more than now. And they make stabilization in this market. Why? Because right now, they don't want to sell at the price market. They want to sell at the last price. So they don't sell it. So this market is fixed with very, very high price. Yeah. And if someone wants to have the luxury to say, I want to live here, you have to pay very, very high price. You understand what I mean? So this part, for example, Monaco is like the same market. So that means we could, crisis or not crisis, we could really fix good price. Even the land or the geographic place is right, is good, and even everything is full. I mean, if everything is built, there is no possibilities to build something else, So the owner control the market.
欧洲以其博大精深、辉煌灿烂的艺术闻名于世，无论是色彩缤纷的绘画艺术、旋律美妙的古典音乐，还是巴洛克风格、哥特风格的建筑艺术，走在欧洲的每一个角落，似乎空气中都弥漫着艺术的气息。那么高端房产又与艺术有什么不解之缘呢？无论在高端地产的建筑风格上，还是在室内装饰的点点滴滴中，你总会找到艺术的身影。它们或是墙上的一个浮雕，或是一幅壁画，又或是夕阳西下主人播放的古典乐。艺术在建筑空间里跳跃着，流淌着。
Since you was born in Paris, and we know that France is a cradle of the contemporary art. So what do you think the contemporary art atmosphere's impact towards the luxury real estate industry?
Oh. I have some friends very rich. They have very beautiful apartment, very beautiful house. And when I go there, I never see apartment, luxury apartment, or a luxury house without artwork, like decoration, sculpture, or whatever. So for me, it's two words very, very similar. You can dissociate these two words. I mean, and sometimes it's the same person. The rich man will have a very beautiful house, very beautiful apartment in New York. He have a very beautiful boat in Monaco. He's a collector. He loves art, and he buy and invest in art. So for me, it's two words so nearest one of the other.
Art, like the Chinese courtyard, for example, the courtyard in Beijing, also has this kind of situation.
That's very interesting right now, what you are saying, because it's not the same job, but the mechanism or the market works more or less in art like in real estate. It's why these two markets in back office was very, very interesting for me too, you know, because in art, if we could talk a while about art, in France you have the collectors, you have the gallerists, the art gallerists, and you have the curators. Okay, curators is a public museum. The curators make the quotation of the art. You know, for example, you are a young artist and a curator want to expose you in the Musée du Louvre in Paris. So that means after the exposition, 3 or 4 weeks after, the price of your artwork is going to increase a lot. Because it's like that, okay? The private things is, for example, a very known collectors. I know one in London, Saatchi and Saatchi, for example. Imagine you just go, you say, okay, this artist, this one I know, emergent but very known, name is Walter Passarella, for example. He said, okay, I start to collect Walter Passarella. The painting of Walter Passarella, it's around 3,000, 4,000 euro. Okay, big one, it's a right price for emergent artists. But when people know that Saatchi and Saatchi or Namad or whatever fantastic collectors around the world bought Walter Passarella, the price of Walter Passarella is going to increase too. They say, oh, if this man collects this artist, he's going to be a very, very famous artist in 15 or 20 years. So it's always the same crazy offer and the demand, and the people just control more and less this market. It's not so much good sometimes in art.
And well, so what do you think the efforts or the factors of the European arts to reflect in the architecture style of the luxury real estate in Europe? So how can we, for example, find the art factors from the architecture style?
It's very difficult to answer to that, because for me, art at the beginning have to represent the society where we live. Always it works like that, you know. Always we have a very old culture of art in Europe and in France. With the Renaissance in Italy, for example, we start to create art really. So always the artists live in a period, in a place, and normally without their own feeling, they always try to represent the society where they live. So if we could just make some comparison between real estate and art, it's not so easy now, because contemporary art now in France, but it could have some, go back to natural things, go back to more biologic things, more explanation things, more technical things, you know, like the society is become. Sometimes you have a lot of philosopher people just say that we never know if the society inspire art, or sometimes if it's the art who inspires society. So I think it's two things very, very mixed, and it's very, very difficult.
For example, now in China, especially in Beijing, for example, when we visit the courtyards in Beijing, and we can find a lot of art factors in this courtyard architecture style. For example, the paintings and also the design of the patterns of the courtyard.
We could talk perhaps more the relationship between art and real estate in China, in Beijing in particular, because you are not emergent from my point of view, but you are developing so much and so new, you know. Perhaps art or contemporary art just exists since 25 or 30 years, and all the development of real estate here started there perhaps 25, 30 years in China, really, I mean. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I think so. So they just are developing the same thing together. So of course there are more relationship between art or contemporary art right now in China and real estate.
How do you see the Chinese market, especially the luxury real estate market in China? Is this an emerging market for you?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I visit some private apartment. That not makes such long time I'm here, so it's just a small point of view. It can't be objective. And I think we perhaps it's not the same sense or the same test sometimes of high level of luxury, but I've seen very luxury hotels, for example. So I visit some private apartment right now, very luxury private apartment. I think there are not so much difference right now between the way of luxury in general, I'm talking about, and Europe. The only thing perhaps I could say, but it's my point of view right now after a couple of days in China, so sorry if I do something not right, but perhaps in some quality materials, in some finishing, in some, you know, you can't develop in such not so much years what in Europe we make centuries to understand. You understand what I mean? Of some things. But I think the luxury market of real estate in China is in march, and it starts to be very interesting.